Okay, so I got the old cooler off. I set this in a pan and drained it. I got to seal the lines off of here. Obviously the lines are going to be too short to do what I want, but I need them for just the fittings essentially. But I wanted to compare the two cores so you give you guys an idea. Obviously, so this core that was on it is a little bit, in the direction I had it, a little bit taller, a little bit wider in this sense, right? But look at the thickness of that core compared to the thickness of this core. It's quite a bit bigger. Plus obviously the fan on it. I mean, on the front where I had the old cooler, obviously it had the cooling fan of the engine to pull air through. But it was also attached to the radiator. The biggest reason I'm wanting to move this thing to the back is just so I can have a standalone fan on the trans cooler pretty much running all the time, and obviously have it shrouded a little bit better. And then the core size being slightly thicker is going to help as well, just some more surface area there. So I'm going to get the new fittings installed into this and pull these hoses off of here. And then I have to take a bunch of evap stuff off the back of the car that's still there under the spare tire well, which is where I want to put the new cooler. So I'm going to get these fittings installed, the lines removed, and pull all that evap stuff out, and then mount the cooler back there. Alright, so I got the cooler mounted. These are actually the bolts that come through the air-to-water intercooler mount as well, so that kind of worked out. And then, yeah, so now I'm going to run 290s on this thing, run the lines this direction and then up that way to the trans. Have to make some brackets, go over the rear end housing, that kind of thing. So I'm going to get the fittings set and at least run the lines where I want. I don't know what I'm going to do for a bracketry yet to hold the lines up, so have to sort that out in a minute, but for now I can at least get the fittings on it and run the lines, so gonna get on making that happen. Alright, so got the lines kind of ran. They're up over the, I don't know, it's hard to see, but they're up over the rear end there, around the fuel tank, blah 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 blah, pretty normal stuff. And then I ran out of line, unfortunately. This guy is a little short, obviously, because this guy goes way up there. So I'm gonna get a union, and I can use one of the leftover lines from the old setup actually to make up the difference. I thought about buying another piece, but man, it's an expensive piece of line for having, you know, the problem with another joint, obviously one more spot for a potential leak, right? But I think it's worth the cash savings. It'll be fine. I gotta work on some kind of mount to hold these to the car. I was wanting to 3D print something, but after I thought about it, even with ABS, you know, its high temp points like 221. I don't know if that's gonna be adequate for what we're doing. That said, I could try it and just monitor it, keep an eye on it. But look here on this side of stuff, you can see I got the one up there on a 45, the straight out. I couldn't do a straight on the top one because it was running into the floor pan here, but pretty happy with that. I'm going to call it a day on the trans lines and work on some of the wiring. I gotta snake this back up into the engine bay and tie it off for now. Again, moving to a Haltech, so the stock ECU stuff's just temporary, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it, but I've at least got to get it back up there, get the widebands plugged in again, and figure out the neutral safety switch side of the trans wiring. So I'm gonna make work of that. Alright, I got that electrical harness tucked up here, just wrapped it around the battery a little bit. I've done a little bit of research on this. I don't know if I've got to jump some pins around in here for the neutral safety switch, or if it's something I can just program off. I haven't quite figured that out yet. As far as like program off, because the in the ECU I'm allowed to like force a neutral state or infer neutral, and a little bit of reading I was doing said that basically the neutral safety switch was part of like this vehicle security. So if I disabled the vehicle security, it might bypass it. I don't know, that all seems really weird to me. I'm so used to just your basic neutral safety switch setup. So I gotta sort that out. I got the dipstick hooked in there, and yes, I just zip screwed that to the firewall for now, because I gotta pull all this insulation off at some point, and then I'll put some nutserts in there and make that nice. But that'll work for now temporarily. But I'm kind of finishing this video up from last weekend, and just yesterday the drive shaft showed up. I'm super stoked about that. So yeah, tune into the video next week. I'm gonna get the drive shaft in there, and I've got my fittings to finish the trans cooler line install. I'm probably gonna make some sort of bracket to hold those up, and I'm going to get this neutral safety switch sorted out. So hopefully the next video the thing will be running.